Good evening, and thanks for joining Real America with Dan Ball tonight, folks. I hope you're enjoying your Tuesday evening. Here's a question for you tonight. What does it mean to be brave? In your mind, what does bravery look like? Personally, I think bravery can take on many forms and shapes. For instance, let's say you have a internal fear of speaking in front of a crowd, but you decide to run for office anyway to make a difference in your community. To me, that would be a sign of bravery, something honorable, right? What about when you see something happening in society, out in your neighborhood? Like, let's say a man's mistreating his wife or his children in public. You decide to step in and say something while most others remain silent. You say something because you want to de-escalate the situation, help out. Some would say that's the brave thing to do. Or maybe it's just the right thing to do. So hard to tell in society today, right? So my question to you tonight is, as we begin, what would you be willing to do when it comes to an act of bravery? I want to paint a scenario now. Let's say you're at a local mall, shopping with your significant other or spouse. All of a sudden, a crazed 20-year-old gunman opens fire right in front of you, hitting several innocent shoppers. You see the carnage in front of you, 2 or 3 folks down on the ground. The gunman continuing to fire. Let's add one more important factor. You're legally armed with a handgun. Again, the bad guy's in front of you, mowing down Sunday shoppers with a long barrel rifle. What would you do? I'm sure we'd all like to think, sitting here, of course, playing Monday morning quarterback, that we would jump in and act right away, right? We'd spring into action. We'd take the bad guy out. Would we? It's exactly what a brave 22-year-old Indiana man did without concern for his well-being. He acted. He saved lives. And his story, which we're about to tell, proves why we need more good guys with guns to take out the trash in this country. Because let's face it, cops can't be everywhere all the time. And they're under attack by the extreme left. I mean, I don't know why cops even want to do their jobs today. And when there's an active shooter, you only have seconds to act. Average response time for cops today in major cities, I mean, you're talking about anywhere from 4 to 7 minutes. Most of the carnage in an active shooter situation happens within the first 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Cops can't get there in time. And that's why what this young man did is heroic, is brave. And now his community, and I would hope most in this country, are hailing him as a hero, as they should. Let's head to the Midwest to tell his story. On Sunday, a 20-year-old gunman opens fire inside of the Greenwood Park Mall that's located just south of Indianapolis, killing 3 and injuring 2 others. Before the hero, the good guy, with a legally obtained gun, ended his siege. The hero, 22-year-old Elijah Dicken from southern Indiana. There's the young man right there. Elijah's a law-abiding citizen who was legally carrying his Glock pistol under Indiana's just recently approved constitutional carry law. Thank God. By the way, folks, the shooting, as I just said, was on Sunday. The law went into effect July 1st. How about that? Now, thankfully, young Elijah here didn't follow protocol and went against the mall's rules of no firearms allowed. I would have done the same. I do the same. Why? Because I don't like going into soft targets, not being armed. Malls, movie theaters, schools. Ever notice why the bad guys target those places? Because they don't think there'll be a good guy with a gun. That young man we just showed you, by the way, leave his pickup. I want to hail this guy. We're not going to talk too much about the bad guy. He's dead anyway. But the good guy was able to put this shooter down in less than 2 minutes from the first shot. The 20-year-old, another Indiana kid, Jonathan, I think it's Serapin, I don't care. He's dead, he's gone, he was disturbed, and he took life. We don't want to give him any more airtime than we have to, right? Young Elijah, though, shot and killed that man from a distance with great accuracy that police are now commending. Matter of fact, the chief in Greenwood, Indiana, is praising Elijah, as they should. Watch this.
His actions were nothing short of heroic. He engaged the gunman from quite a distance with a handgun, was very proficient in that, very tactically sound, and as he moved to close in on the suspect, he was also motioning for people to exit behind him. Many more people would have died last night if not for a responsible armed citizen that took action very quickly within the first 2 minutes of this shooting.
Did you hear that? Many more would have died if we didn't have a good guy with a gun, trained how to use it, and the guts to do so. Joining us now to discuss the importance of these new constitutional carry laws being enacted across our country and the heroic acts of this young man. He's an NRA certified instructor for the NRA up in Michigan, so not too far away from where this happened in Indiana, Rick Ector. Rick, welcome to Real America. So let's first and foremost give credit where credit's due, right? This kid, there's no other way to look at it. I don't care how the left-wing media and the anti-gun nuts are going to portray this kid. This kid's a hero.
He most certainly is a hero. First and foremost, he was there, he was present, he was observant, he correctly identified what was happening. And then he was able to proficiently and accurately engage the target without damaging any additional property or without injuring any others. One of the pet arguments of people who are against law-abiding citizens carrying is that we can't handle the responsibility. As mentioned by the local police chief in his jurisdiction, he performed admirably and should be appropriately commended.
Yeah, and this kid, not in the military, no police training, but obviously, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, we haven't heard from him. I think he's either from Seymour or Columbus, Indiana, small Indiana town. I grew up in a small Ohio town. My fiance's from a small Indiana town. Let me tell you what, your family starts putting guns in your hands at about 5 or 6. You learn gun safety, you learn how to handle them, you learn how to shoot, you learn how to be accurate, and you learn not to be afraid of that weapon. And I'll bet you this kid, without formal training, though, had a lot of training. And by way of that, I mean with his family, probably out at a range, who knows, maybe some NRA classes, right? Because you just don't pick up, and as the cop said, he accurately took this guy out from a distance with a handgun while he was in the middle of actively firing his long barrel rifle. That's pretty damn good.
It's outstanding. And you know what? The background that he had with firearms was to be commended. The thing that many people are surprised in major metropolitan areas is that people in many areas of this country introduce their family members, particularly their children, with fundamental firearm safety from a very young age.
Yep.
Of course, you can start out with something like Eddie Eagle, and then as you progress and start taking them out to the gun range and start teaching them fundamental safety and teaching them marksmanship and informing them in terms of how to properly and lawfully behave with the firearm. Again, he's had an outstanding background. Obviously, his parents and mentors in his life have worked with him. He performed admirably, and I think that we should not cease in our admiration and praise of his actions on that fateful day just a couple of days ago.
Couldn't say it better myself, Rick. You are exactly right. This goes to prove again that good guys with guns can stop the bad guys, and they are needed to fill the gaps where law enforcement cannot be present. Number one. Number two, and I want your take on this. I just said right before I brought you on, thank goodness, Indiana and many other states have just recently enacted these constitutional carry laws where you don't have to go through this BS of waiting to hear a bureaucrat say if you can get a CCW, like I had to wait in California for months and months and months so I could conceal carry. This kid, judging by his background, probably just recently started carrying with that new law. Just think if he wouldn't have had that gun, what could have happened to so many others in that mall.
Well, absolutely. You know, the thing is that the more credibly, properly trained individuals who are lawfully carrying in our communities is going to make us all safer by extension. And yes, unfortunately, there's some places in which firearms are banned for whatever reasons the owners or management decide. I think that this particular incident showed that if you disarm good people who are trained with firearms, bad things can happen. I hope that this issue will force many businesses to reevaluate their gun policies in their businesses.
Boom. Rick Ector, an NRA certified instructor up in D-Town, Detroit, Michigan. Been up there, some Red Wings games, love that town. You take care, Rick. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Hey, man, thanks for having me on. Have a great day today.
You too. God bless.